This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Off the Clock Shop Talk. Thank you for tuning in every week. Thank you for just being a loyal unionist, keeping up on what's going on with 952, with the Teamsters, and with what's happening out there, as we've had guests from every kind of facet of the union, right? We're going to continue to do that as we move forward. Just wanted to show, our gratitude to you guys and say thank you for the likes, the subscribes, and the shares. We appreciate it. We've noticed some traction. As you can see, guys, I am wearing my Teamster jacket. We've had a few entries for sure. I don't know what we're at the total
I don't
number.
know the total right now,
but
we're getting traction on that.
What's being looked at on the Instagram, people are definitely sharing and getting their entries in. If you haven't seen it, please go to Instagram, OCST.952 on Instagram. There's an official post for our giveaway. We are giving away one of these Teamster jackets, and like I said, it can be kind of customized to what you like, or I should say, like your local union. Mine says
local union,
local 952, Southern California, right? Yours can say whatever, right? Whatever your local is, and then mine
your
says,
barn.
John Anselin, business representative. Yours can say shop steward, member. Yours can say your nickname.
I think they should go
whatever.
Name and then nickname underneath.
Yeah, you could do
dope.
that. So
I got a good idea.
Just throwing it out there. Big shout out again to James Placentia. We spelled his name wrong last time.
Oh, did
it's
I?
Placencia. So Placentia, right? Not like the city, because that's kind of half of where I grew up in Santa Ana and Placentia. So that's
a bad cap.
Yeah. But shout out. We appreciate you supporting the show and allowing us to do this giveaway. But those of you guys out there in YouTube and Spotify world, please check it out. Share it with your friends. We're looking for involvement. That's why we're doing the giveaway. We want to see more people get involved, get interested in union business. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for.
So we have kind of been the vein of guests for the past, I don't know what, like
I think it's
7,
been
8 weeks, 9 weeks.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think it's been like almost 3 months now.
Yeah, so this week again will not disappoint. So I will introduce our guest for the week. Kind of excited. We've been trying to get this guy on for a long time.
Yeah, you guys.
I'm sure there's a lot of pressure there. He is a busy fella. He is a driver, longtime steward. Jesse Mojica.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Jesse?
Not much. Thanks for getting me on here, but they twisted my arm to get on here, but it's all good.
Almost quite literally.
Yeah, I think it was literally.
If we want you guys on, we'll twist your arm if we
they
have
suckered me in here, but it's all good.
All right. Hey,
It's all good,
you're here.
They bribed me with a little bit of alcohol,
That's
so
all that matters.
No.
And guess who else is back? Dun, 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 dun. Sabas!
Welcome back, bud.
I'm only here because Jesse decided to come to one meeting.
You decided to call at the right time ahead of time.
Well, Jesse has the nerve to call me and say, well, aren't you coming on? And I said, you're calling me out when this is the first time you're going to come to a meeting? It's good to be back.
Let's kind of get into it. So, Jesse, I'm sure the folks out there in YouTube world are interested, YouTube and Spotify world, are interested in where you come from. What do you do? How'd you get there? Let's start there.
I started UPS when I was 18. I grew up in Norwalk. I started in Cerritos, actually, for a few months during peak season. And then my parents got divorced, and I basically left the house, and my aunt lived out in Laguna Hills, and that's when I went out there, or Laguna Gal, I'm sorry. And she's like, hey, there's a UPS, out in Laguna. So I went down there, and I told them, hey, I work at Cerritos right now. I'm living there for 6 months. And they basically kind of just, I don't want to say transferred me over, but I just basically reapplied, went there, and then
Started over?
Yeah, basically started over again, and then, it was all within a few months, but that was in 2001. Yeah, the rest is history. It all took off. the whole bubble started of, the mortgages, the business got crazy. I went driving as soon as I turned 21, literally. Like I was in a class the day I turned 21.
Nice.
And I've been driving ever since. Like I'm 39 now, so 18 years or so. Yeah, then the shop steward thing kind of came around after a couple guys from our center, like Joel Simmons and Ken Wubbles, they basically moved on. And we didn't really have anyone. We had Jesse Hernandez, I think that was a steward at the time. He stepped down, and they put it up for vote, and there was a few people that I didn't agree. Well, shouldn't say that I didn't agree. I just felt like
they wouldn't represent.
Yeah, I felt like my voice was probably a little better or something, or I've always been kind of a person.
Confidence.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
you're like, you fucking suck. I'm fucking.
No, yeah. Well, I don't want to say that. Yeah, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
There are people that have the right. They have the right motive, but they just can't get their point across right.
No,
yeah,
I get it. No, don't get me wrong. I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah.
But so and I will backtrack a little bit. Like, so what did you do when you were in the hub? How long did you spend in the hub? All that good stuff.
When I worked in the hub, I started to unload, and then from unload, I went to sort out within like a few months. I took
dollar raise back then?
I got the dollar raise, took the test, all that stuff. And then I became a fast sorter. Back then, small sort was a whole different animal. They dump smalls on the slide, and you sorted in these bins. There's like 30 bins behind you.
Yeah.
And small sort was always the problem, like to close it down, before.
That's still Anaheim small sort.
Anaheim is
they still have that
They
small
still
sort?
do it that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
So, yeah.
baggers?
Yeah, it was baggers, exactly. So I ended up, what I would do is I would sort basically up until the break, and then I would shoot over to small sort, and then I would sort for the remainder to help them close down. We would put on more sorters, basically.
He was violating seniority.
Yeah, probably. Something like that. I mean, I'll be honest.
I probably didn't know at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was hungry to work. I just wanted to work, and I wanted the hours, and that was like a position where I could get more hours. They're like, oh, well, you'll be at small sort. And then after small sort was closed down, I would come back to the sort aisle, and then I would do blocks, do belt checks. I basically wanted to learn everything there was. So once we got enough sorters, we had people down in E-regs, or bulk trains, or whatever you call it. Every hub has a different name for it. I think it's Cerritos, they called it bulk trains. It came to Laguna, they call it E-regs. And then I learned how to do E-regs. Towards the end of that is when they wanted me to learn how to do pickoff and preload. But I would always go preload. I would do anything. I would do orange pallets, they used to call it, when you're running. I would try to get as many hours as I could. Whatever, I was hungry because I was the only income. I was on my own. That's when they were like, oh, you want to go driving? And then I had a supervisor back in the day, Jim Lazakis. I don't know if anyone remembers him. He ran the preload back then, and they took me up front to go drive or whatever. They put my name on the list or whatever. They were just calling people up. That's like in 2004, 2005.
That's when I went.
Yeah.
Cover driving.
Yeah, and then literally like within a few weeks, like ever called me and then went driving and never went back.
We'll bleep it out. But you're talking about when he was in HR?
Yeah, when he was HR. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, yeah. When he was in HR.
Sauce knows him too.
We all know
him. We all know him. We all dealt with him. I mean, in Anaheim, and we'll bleep out all the names, George. But we had she was a longtime HR in Anaheim. Yeah. She was actually stationed there. We got for a little while. He was a horrible stress ball.
Well, yeah.
Well,
that's when all that seniority things got messed up too. I mean, there was guys probably in Cerritos that probably should have, or not Cerritos, Anaheim building that should have probably went driving before me. Okay. And the seniority lists were all messed up, and I think they grieved it.
Just violating seniority everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but you know how it is with UPS. It's like if you work, it's like I don't know. No, I don't know if it's like
it's
that.
also not his job to find out who's.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
It's not Jesse.
Yeah. I didn't know at the time. I was a kid.
Completely joking when I say Jesse violated the seniority. The company violates seniority. They kind of do whatever they do. They do it all the time. It's nothing new.
New.
Jesse wasn't the first one. They do play favoritism a lot, and they try to get around our contract. But obviously
they do. Yeah.
Do you remember in the part-time of even talking to a steward? Did you even know who a steward was when you were a part-timer?
All I remember was honestly, I didn't really ever get in. I hate to say I didn't ever get in trouble, but I never really had to deal with anything. It was crazy because actually when I was in Cerritos, it was like a whole different environment. It's like when I was in Cerritos, like supervisors didn't want to touch a single fucking package. There was preloaders, unloaders yelling at it was like, that's our work. And it was nuts. It was like almost like a riot. And I'm saying I was barely 18 at this time. I'm still a kid. You got these grown ass adults just going at it. And I'm like, what the fuck is, Yeah. But, and then I come to Laguna and it's like, oh, that's okay. Like, we don't care about them.
Club
like,
Laguna?
What? Yeah. And that's literally where the name came from. We started calling it Club Laguna. Yep. And then when I started delivering out there, then I realized, dude, they're fucking paying me to drive around Newport Beach and stare at scattered ass all day long. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 21 years old. Sign me up all day.
All
Let's
day,
go.
son.
Stay out here all day if you want me to, you know?
You know, to your point, we kind of know the difference. We both, you know, you started in 01, I started in 02. I think George started in 04. Sava started when the dinosaurs were around. But
You work with the chisel and
he was delivering on a tablet, a stone tablet.
there you go. That's it. Yeah.
But
Some Fred Flintstone shit.
no, but I mean, you know, and just hearing the differences at the time, because it was just word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
It spread. 396, you know, that area, that even 63, we would hear stories from Ontario, stories from Cerritos, and how they were just different environments. The union was a lot stronger, I guess. The union was more involved.
Yeah.
And it's something that, you know, and this is completely my opinion, but something that we were kind of lacking here. To your point, Club Laguna, even more so than Anaheim, I think was really lax on just everything. I mean, at the time, no names need to be said, but I think at the time, you know, we heard a lot that the business agent, there was no grievances were not allowed to be filed for supervisor working during peak. You know, there was a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah, I remember
You know
weird
what I
stuff
mean?
hearing about stuff like that.
You know, it is what it is, but like I said, to your point, it's a different environment.
Oh,
right?
completely. Yeah. I think it still kind of is. I don't know. I think the area itself, you know, you get kids from like, because I mean, obviously I grew up in a different area. I'm not saying it was rough or anything, but
You notice the difference.
yeah,
for
you
sure.
get you get a kid that grew up in maybe, and then nothing against them. There's not like, but it's the motivation factor. Like you got a job that's going to pay you like $9 an hour, and you know, my parents give me $200 a month, $300 a week allowance, you know, for gas money and whatever else. They're like,
Damn, Sauce, did you get $200 a month for allowance?
yeah, it's
I had to
like,
go throw the Orange County Register on my bike.
yeah. No, everyone has a different story. I get it. I'm not trying to call anyone. I mean, and then good for them, you know, good for people that were privileged in that particular way. But I think that's why the environment is so much different, you know. There's some people that didn't really, you know, have to struggle for so much stuff. And,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I get it. And it's, I guess, to, you know, what you're saying, it's an affluent area.
Yeah.
You know, so there's people with, I guess, a lot more money. You know, it's funny when driving in the parking lot in Laguna, you drive in and the part-timers are driving BMWs, and Mercedes, and Audis, and you're like, well, fuck, dude. What the fuck?
That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the area.
yeah. I think when I came to Laguna, I was driving my old Bug.
What year?
It was a piece of shit. 1970.
1970?
Yeah, but they call them Super Beetles back then. It wasn't a conventional or a standard. I drove that, and everyone else had, like, you know, they're coming to work and they're, you know, nice new truck or whatever. And I'm like, there's no way you're paying for that, because back then, what we get, like, our paychecks were like $120.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
know what I mean?
I remember those.
I remember not breaking 100.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you just
couldn't
like get like a
imagine.
$95 check.
You're
You're like,
yeah.
fuck, union dues. I got
Yeah. Are you regret going home that day early? Like when they're like at
yeah.
break time, they're like, hey, you want to go home early? And you're like kind of hungover or something. You're like, hell yeah, I'm out of
I
here.
am out.
Yeah. And the next week you're like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? It's like you really budget. It's like, okay, $20 is going to the gas tank. $20 is for tonight. All right, we might eat, you know, in and out if you're hungry, you know what I mean? But it was a wholly different thing. But it's wild.
You know, the part-timers can still relate.
Yeah.
You know, they can still relate.
Yeah,
The
it's
inflation is super high. Maybe they obviously, I think when probably both of us started, it was like $850, right? Something.
Yeah,
to start.
$850.
850 till
right?
till
So-
like 2008.
So I mean, now it's $1,550. The
what
last
it
year
is
of
now?
this contract,
Yeah.
$1,550 to start. But I mean, obviously, everything is more expensive. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they can relate. You know, a $200 check now compared to our $100 check probably buys the same.
Well, yeah, gas was
stuff
$1
or
back
less.
then. That alone, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back in
gas
the,
was
I mean, I
$1.
remember
It's
when I
fucking
first
$5
started
now.
driving. 99 cents, dude.
Well, I used to
We
fill
would
up
buy
my
gas.
Bug for $15. You know,
Yeah.
it was like
$13 to fill up my 92 Integra.
yeah. So I can relate. So now if they're even making more, it's like they go to the gas pump at $60. You're like shit. You
Yeah,
know?
back in the day, you'd have $5 and you'd be like, well, I'll get a half a tank.
Yeah.
You're like,
Back in the day, you could open your ashtray, pull out the change, and go put it in the tank, and you could actually get home. Now it's like, where are you going? The next pump? You know, it's like,
the ashtray too. That dated you because they don't go cars
there's
with ashtrays anymore.
Well,
the ashtrays and the push
ashtray.
button.
His car still has an ashtray.
Mike,
I don't even
I
think
drive
the
older
cars
cars,
have
you know,
push
I like-
button lighters anymore.
No,
You remember?
My
The
M3
guy
still
that
has a
had
push button lighter.
dude. I
What
mean,
year's your M3?
2011. It still has a.
Oh yeah,
the last year they
that's
made
more
them.
than that's
Yeah.
that's more than
It
a
is.
decade. So
V8, baby.
yeah,
But yeah, I
They're
mean,
promoting good healthy.
Come on, am I putting you to sleep over here?
No. I was
Come
just
on.
thinking about those ashtrays and.
yeah,
you
dude,
want
I
cigarettes or
remember
something?
that.
No. Just that's true.
So that
Yeah.
was his stash spot. That's why he had.
Well,
a
someone got
he had a
offended, bro.
flashback.
Oh yeah, those ashtrays. I know you used to stash some stuff in there.
It's not a good stash spot because they always go for that first.
No, you take the ashtray out, you put
And
it
you put it
the
behind
ashtray,
it.
dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, George grew up in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
Apparently, I guess he didn't know about that.
I
They
was-
didn't pull him over for anything suspect. You know.
I didn't grow up in a nice neighborhood, but I spent a lot of time in nice neighborhoods. I had
Where did
friends.
you grow up, George?
I grew up in Stanton. It's off.
yeah, yeah,
it's
it's
in
alright.
between Anaheim
North of
and
Anaheim?
yeah, it's in between Anaheim and Garden Grove.
Yeah.
It's a Stanton. Yeah, it's a small,
small city.
little
Yeah,
city.
It is.
Small, I was gonna say,
Small little
It's
small
like
little
6
city.
blocks, I think, 6 city
Is
blocks.
it really?
It's
yeah,
small.
I know it's small, but I didn't realize it was. Jeez.
To your point, that's not a great neighborhood.
No, it's not.
Man,
It's
It is what it
we'll
is.
give you a little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
Like, I
Because
just
only
spent a lot.
today.
I spent a lot of time in Irvine and
One-star
stuff. So I had
street
friends
cred.
out there.
Yeah. Now he delivers in Laguna Beach
George
with all
has
the
a
ritzy
1-star.
people and
A
stuff.
1-star street cred.
1-star street
star.
cred. I'm working my way up, dude. It's like GTA.
Oh my god. I mean, you got to start somewhere. So
Gotta start
Well,
somewhere.
let's get back to it. So you're working part time. You do small sort. You do a bunch of stuff. You go driving.
yeah, I go drive.
How long before you became a shop steward?
I actually haven't been steward that long. I don't want to say. Honestly, it's only been like 5 years, so I haven't been as long. I've always kind of been involved. Not involved. I want to say I'm always curious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've always been curious, like what's going on, what's happening with this, what's happening with that. And to my point, like we talk all the time. It's the company hasn't been as wild as they are now. It's like I say, we're breaking down people's days.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you have to explain why you hit a stoplight for 5 minutes or something. You know what I mean? It's wild. I don't think anyone ever had to explain themselves that they do before. And obviously, I guess they're taking it to a point because of the technology they have now.
Well, that's a way for them to try and be like, hey, they're trying to like bring your paid day down so that way they can increase their money for the day. They're trying to pay you less.
It's
That's the
definitely
whole-
all
the
about
whole point.
productivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna figure out like routes that I said, well, I've been in Costa Mesa Center for long. I know pretty much every route in the center, and there's routes that I look at today that when I first learned them, they used to be like 80 stops and like maybe 2 blocks, 3 blocks, and they paid like 9.5, 10 hours. And now you do that same route with twice as much work, and
It'll pay less than
it
8.
doesn't even pay 8 hours.
Yeah.
And the company's excuse is like, oh well. And then I get it to an extent. Like, yeah, I got a nice truck now. It don't take me 20 minutes to get over the toll road. I'm not in third gear going 35 miles an hour with my flashers on. You know, I get that part, and I have power steering now and stuff like that. But it doesn't make me that much faster. And also, it's to an extent where if I am working faster, then how much more unsafe am I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like anything else in life, the faster you move, there's more margin for error. Yeah, it's wild just to see where it's going. So when I ran for Stewart, I just felt like we needed where we're going now, like what we deal with, George knows. And Mike Dodota, he was my the steward before when we went to feeder or whatever. And we got the blunt of it. We saw like when the company started really using that against us, per se, like, oh, what were you doing here? What were you doing there? Your bulkhead door was open for this long. It took you this long to deliver. Were you on your phone or,
Especially with your manager. He's like the fucking.
Oh,
king of
God,
that shit.
yeah. And that was the other thing. I mean, when I first went in there with Mike or even Mike Menzie, he would bring up these spreadsheets and you're staring at them and like, I'm like, shit, I'm back in like high school. I'm looking at all these spreadsheets. Like, how do I analyze this?
George had to take. Jesse had to take an Excel class.
Yeah, shit, yeah. Excel is now my friend, And now I tell him, now I'm asking him like, well, I want a spreadsheet on this and this. I know you can do it. I need you to, you know what I mean? Next time we come in here, I want to see the difference between this and this, And that's literally what it is. I had to learn, and I hated it because it's like I had to learn what his job was. Yeah. Because it's the only way you can defend these guys now, because it's like, well,
it's impossible to combat it if you don't know how it works.
Yeah, if I don't know what he's talking about, it's easy just to sit in there and be like, he was doing this or something. I want to be able to use the technology against him too. You know, that way it helps with my argument. And a lot of times they don't like to hear it. They think we're machines,
Yeah,
So,
that's. I mean, in essence, that's what they want. That's like their final goal, right? They want machines.
Yeah,
We're not machines. We don't.
Exactly.
And the reason, in my opinion, the reason they can't have machines do our job is because it's so fluid. Stuff changes out there that you
There's too many variables out there.
And you see it in their AI, which we call Orion, right? You see it in that where stuff will change, and you'll have an on-call pickup, or you'll have a something. Say one of your customers calls you, and says, hey, we're leaving early today. Can you get my,
Yeah.
my air or whatever? You know what I mean? Stuff is very fluid out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to hit a certain section because, well, I'm up here right now. I might as well hit this little section of resi so I don't have to come all the way back up here later. Whatever your thought process is. The AI, which is Orion at the moment, is just shitty with that, with the fluid changes of the job. And I don't think they'll ever get to the point, in my opinion, where they can address that fluidity of the job, that the ever-changing, like we use that argument with management. Every day is different. Every day is. What if this street's closed? Now
Yeah,
what is your
exactly.
AI?
Now what do you do?
The other day, I got stuck behind a fucking trash truck when I normally would not, because for some reason, trash day's on Tuesday, but on fucking Thursday, the trash truck was in a spot where he shouldn't have been. That's a variable that I definitely would not have accounted for.
You can't plan for that. Orion is going to plan for. But when you run into that situation, you're going to formulate a plan, and you're going to go, okay, this is the best way to do, what I need to do to accomplish my goals, to make sure I make service on these packages, to make sure, and when they're looking at those spreadsheets and when they're looking at that AI, there is none of that. Like, what thought process went into making those decisions that you made on road, whether they're road closures or trash day or street sweeper day. There's all kinds of different stuff that we have to deal with as drivers.
Yeah, they just take the allotted time that is basically given to us for when the bulkhead door opens, package selection, delivery time, walk back. They expect that for every single stop, as if there's going to be no variable change.
Yeah,
and
that was one of my biggest issues when Orion came in, is they didn't the package selection, right? The package selection time hasn't been addressed. It hasn't been changed since Orion came in. And when Orion came in, if you were a UPS driver, traditionally, you understand you're picking everything off the 1,000 shelf.
Yeah.
And then you're sliding everything forward.
Correct.
Right? So your first stop is going to be 1,000, so on and so forth. But now with Orion, it'll make you go wherever it thinks that's
1,000,
the fastest.
7,000.
Yeah, you'll go from 1,000, 7,000, 8,000. So you're kind of picking all over your truck, and they don't really care or want to take into account that, like, you might have bulk in the middle. You might have this going on. You might have, this stop came in super heavy today, so I can't really get to my 8,000 shelves. The time allotment, to your point, the time allotment is still 8 seconds for package selection, or 7 seconds. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't, I got to go all the way to the 8,000. Now that shelf isn't fine sorted. You might have fine sorted your 1,000 shelf, but that one isn't. And you're like, fuck, now I got to look for this package because Orion tells me I got to go here.
Yeah, while you're climbing over bikes and shit to get to your fucking package.
Yeah.
Well, the wild thing is, someone can literally call in, a pickup that you normally deliver maybe at the end of your day or something, or you have pickups at the end of the day, and they'll call an on-call layer or whatever and put like a commit time of 1 o'clock. And then it'll kick it into your board. And then your itinerary, like it says, it updates, and it'll adjust your entire day based off of this one pickup.
Yep. Yeah.
So one person can make a phone call and fuck up your
your whole day.
fuck up your whole day. And it's a funny thing. Honestly, I think UPS itself knows that the Orion is garbage. It doesn't work in well-populated areas, they're dense areas. Maybe out in the country, the city where people do 50 stops a day and drive, 200 miles, because that makes sense. But in an area where it's like this, it's all driver. You have to have the knowledge. And because there's no way, like you said, you don't know about that bulk stop. Or on my route in particular, a lot of my route doesn't open until about 11 o'clock. I have a lot of restaurants. I have stores. And the Orion will tell me to deliver like this. I'm like, dude, they don't open until 11:30 or 12. I'm supposed to do this first.
What do you know, Orion?
Well, it's funny. We had a conversation last week on the show in regard to somewhat of that. Like, we were talking about how, managers nowadays, that they've kind of thrown service out the window, right? When they use these AI programs, it doesn't take into account that side of things. No. Like the customer service. You have a customer that calls you that's a longtime customer that's been spending money with UPS. They paid premium dollar to ship their packages with UPS, and they're closed. Let's say it's not the scheduled lunchtime. It's not between 12 and 1, but let's say they take lunch from 11 to 12.
Yeah.
And your board says, hey, that's the next stop. I've had managers tell me, like, no, go there, and sheet it closed. And I'm like, why?
That's not making
why
service.
why am I going to be a dick? They're paying extra money for the service. and we're moving away from that service model that we were trained on. You know,
Yeah.
the older, the older drivers. Saw us too. You know, he was trained on that model. No.
No, I'm just thinking about what you said. I mean, they used to get on us about not sheeting up packages between 11 and 12.
12 to
But
1.
it went to the fact that, okay, well, your Ryan's telling me to deliver it now.
Yeah.
So you want me to deliver it? No. Don't do that because it's between 12 and 1, their lunchtime. Okay, well, make up your mind. How do you want it? You want me to follow Orion?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to sheet it up the way you're telling me to, sheet it up? Which is dishonest,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll ask for dishonesty when they want it.
Oh, yeah.
But then
100%,
if we're dishonest, quote unquote, and I'm
Yeah.
not knocking anybody who has been fired for that or anything, because it is what it is. But when we're dishonest, they want to fire us.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you could be dishonest, and I have a certain center manager that was a fucking piece of shit, and he was dishonest, and he didn't get fired. Sawas knows him. He didn't get fired. He just recently got a fucking promotion.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Recently got a promotion?
yeah, recently.
Dishonesty
He's
pays,
He's
apparently.
a division manager now. You know who you are.
Jesus.
So
when I used to get into that situation and they would send me a message to do something like that, I would send a message back and say, okay, I'll do that, but print out this message and put it on my clip.
Yeah, definitely. I tell all drivers too, I go take a picture. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a few drivers that have a lot of, you guys know them, that have had issues with a lot of managers. I go, you know what? Like, let them say whatever they want to say. Let them, because sometimes they may say in a response just out of anger. I go take a picture of it, and then that's my argument. I go, I'll print that out. I'll include it with the grievance, and then when we go to sit down, and talk about it, it's easy to be like, well, he said this, and he's like, oh no, you didn't. Like, well, I have a message over here, or I even have a text message. You know what I mean? And there's no argument anymore.
Yeah.
And then slowly that person loses a little bit of credibility, and you start to realize, like, oh, maybe this manager or this person or whatever is not as
Piece of shit.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit. Exactly. The problem is if the person produces, on the other hand, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, well, shit. I mean, yeah, he's a piece of shit, but he produced. It's almost. I hate to say it.
But his numbers are good.
Yeah, but his numbers
Well,
are good. Exactly.
I think in your center we do run into that
Yeah.
from time to time, right?
Correct, yeah.
The morale might be fucking garbage and nobody wants to work for this guy, but technically he's making numbers.
He's
so-
making
But
numbers, exactly. They're making
at
budget
what
and-
cost? Because now we got packages that are not being serviced. We literally every day we have a fucking 3 tables worth of misloads that are not being serviced because of stuff like that.
Yeah, and
Like I said, I think the company has taken a conscious position to go away from the service-based model, which we've always been. When I first came in, we've talked about it a bunch of times. They told us, like, we know we're more expensive
But that's because
than
we're
everybody
the best.
else, but we're the best, and we provide the best service.
yeah.
When they trained us driving, we had to, my supervisor who was training me actually got upset because I didn't when I was first training, I didn't stop and say hi to the customer and really engage in conversation. He's like, no, you need to do that.
Well, yeah.
You need to take the time and your customers need to
because
know
that's where you would
and they
develop
need to- and I'm
a
like,
relationship. You get sales
okay,
leads.
Well, yeah, that's the funny part. Exactly. It's like George said. They used to tell us, like, well, your customer better, try to get that sales lead if you have,
Yeah, right.
and
That was part of it.
Yeah, and it's.
Now we're turning down business for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Now we are, and it's funny because I was utility for probably, I don't know, 14 years or anyway. You would do routes, and the sole reason half the time those people shipped with UPS was because of the driver.
Yeah.
100%.
Like they had, like FedEx would go in there all the time. They're like, no, we love, Rick, or we
love Jesse.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I ship
His
UPS.
beard is amazing.
Oh God, Jesus Christ! I'm gonna shave this weekend. It's happening. I got Rich's at home. Gone.
You got a guy
Clean shaven Jesse's coming back.
The first girl that tells you,
Oh,
Jesse, bring the
I
beard
can knock
back.
10
You're
years
like,
off.
It's
Maybe. I
coming
don't know.
back.
No. Jesus, I need another beer.
We're kind of all over the place, but you're a steward. What's happened since? How have you progressed as a steward? How's that going?
I think I've gotten a better understanding of where we were talking about where the company's coming from and some of the needs of the members and stuff like that. And everyone's got a different story. Everyone's there for a different reason. Some people it's this or it's that, or their significant other, their wife or whatever makes good money. So maybe the job's not as serious to them. And other people, it's their lifeline. That's all they got. So you have to recognize that with certain people. And it's wild. It's nice though. It's good to be. I hate to say it. It's nice to be in the loop with everything, almost like all the gossip because you basically do.
Yeah.
But there's a good feeling about it, like as working like and just growth. Like I said, even with myself, with customers, and as a person, you get to see what some of the people are going through. You know, like certain people, like they're out there, like, you know, and sometimes you do feel like people are being, you know, singled out.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, how come this person can do this, and that person can't?
Yeah.
You know, so you get to see a lot of that. And I mean, honestly, everyone can hate me, but I love doing my job. I love my route. It's a lot of people I don't really take too much time off. That's probably weird. I take a lot of random days. I'll say that, but
Jesse loves working Saturdays.
yeah, Saturday, whatever. Look, I mean, if there's when I started, this is I'll tell you a funny story. I mean, I don't know if Rick Perez watches this show, or he probably should have. Maybe I'll
Doubt it.
Yeah, I'm gonna send him a link. I don't know if he has a phone or if he has like a flip phone still, but he's my boy. But I remember walking in the center when I first started driving, and he looked at me and he's like, "Man," he's all, "You still had breast milk on your lips when I started driving." And then I was like, "The fuck?" And then he goes, "How old are you?" And I go, 21, because I mean, I look like a kid walking into. Costa Mesa is an older center. I'm not gonna lie; they've always been an older center.
Yeah.
You know, and like obviously, I mean, I got 21 or about to be 22 years, and I'm still not anywhere near the top. You know,
No.
I still got so many
Rick
guys.
Perez is the number one guy.
Yeah.
Where are you at on?
I actually
list?
think I'm higher now. I think I'm like 60,
I think you're
maybe,
like
or
60.
or 40. Yeah.
And you've been there that long?
Yeah. And I think if I was in Irvine, I'd probably be like 15 or something. No,
I'm
I
at
mean,
like
I shouldn't say that.
I think I'm at like 78.
I'm at like I mean, this is obviously when I left. I think I was like at 43. So I'm
Oh,
probably
Damn.
like at
In Tustin Center?
39, 40 at this point.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty good. Yeah,
yeah.
we're probably like, because there's what, 2 pages? I'm at like the very
Yeah.
bottom of the first one still. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I made it to the first page though.
Yeah.
That's the great part. I used to always be at the second
I'm
page.
actually
Second page,
in the,
like-
in the first column of the first page, which
Oh,
was
are you?
fucking
Oh,
amazing to
dude.
me.
Yeah, no,
I
we're
was
like,
fuck.
I mean, I can name like the first 40 off the top of my, you know what I mean? That are like
Yeah.
all have, it's wild. But
I think the year I left, believe it or not, was the first year that I was going to be able to get the day after Thanksgiving off. Because, you know,
Oh, yeah,
kinda-
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm like right there.
I'm going to go to all those fucking sales.
Jesus. Oh, hell no. That's the money making day, bro. They're going to pay me time and a half and pay me for the day I'm coming in.
Yeah.
All day.
And
Sign
then
me up.
also Saturday. That's the best
Yeah,
money
and
making.
that's-
That's the best money making
That
week
is
of the
just-
year.
you
Yeah,
make-
well, Uncle Sam too.
you
He
make-
likes
you
takes a
make
nice
money.
quick 1,000 from us or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
whatever, man.
Yeah.
They used to pay
You get new
1,000
roads.
silver dollars or silver.
It's funny because I think when I first started driving, you always looked at those people that got that day off, that holiday off. Like, oh, it must be nice to get that day off. And then you get old and you're like, hell no, I'm working that day. They're going to pay me how much? Like,
Yeah.
sign me up. You know?
Like I had
Technically,
turkey the day before.
Technically, it's
Yeah.
double time and a half.
Yeah, that was
'Cause you
for
get
8
your
hours, right?
Solid straight
Yep.
hours.
Yeah.
Then
And
you
then
get
after
time
that,
and a
time
half
and a half.
every.
Yeah,
every
that's
hour
easy
you work.
money. It's like, what? I'm like, I got a high school education and they're going to pay me what? To drive around? Half the people are closed?
You and me.
I'm
You
there
and me both.
all day.
Those-
But yeah, it's been I mean, honestly, nowadays every day just goes by so fast. We're in the office in the morning arguing with something about someone's lunch or their break, or so and so went over 9.5 by 2 clicks. What happened? And it's like really. And then you go out there, you do your thing, and you know you come back in, and you may run into a couple people, and then the day goes by. But you know, obviously now we're in a contract year, so it's a little more.
Yeah, it's a little
Interesting.
different.
Yeah,
this
it's a
year.
little different this year. They're tightening a lot of things. They're cutting things, and you know, people still need to live, and they're used to certain things. So
Yeah.
that's another fight, you know.
I gotta admit, they're cutting the shit out of everything right now.
They are.
They're cutting
Yep.
full-time jobs everywhere, feeder
Yeah.
routes. You know, now they're talking about sending back 22-4s in our jurisdiction. And you know, just so you know, we're like one of the last holdouts that don't have, like they started cutting them in Anaheim just recently, last week.
22-4s or
22-4s.
oh, okay.
We don't have any cut in our building yet in Laguna.
Laguna, right? Yeah.
But around the country, they've been cutting
Cutting, yeah.
22-4s. No joke, some locals have actually cut RPCDs. They've laid off RPCDs.
Shit.
Yeah, I
really?
can see it
they're-
probably.
You know, they're way up the list at this point. And they're, you know, we got reports. I was actually just talked to a Coyote the other day. They are turning away volume that
Oh, really?
they could pick up. They're doing it on
That's good.
purpose. And, you know, in the negotiation front, they're with their sob story, saying that their times are tough while they push away volume.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
so-
it's
All that
I
stuff
mean,
is documented, right? So, like, if they are pushing away volume, can't they bring that to the negotiating table and be like, why, if you're saying times are tough, why
I
would
don't-
you push volume
I don't
away?
think they would provide us that information. We only know from, you know, like from I guess, secondhand from the sources, right? So like I
Like,
said, Sawas was talking
okay.
to a Coyote.
Yeah.
Those of you who don't know, Coyotes are subcontractors for
Coyotes.
our work. Now, we don't like them, you know what I mean, necessarily taking our work. Not necessarily. We don't like them taking our work, period. But long story short, one of them was in front of the building. Sawas was, having a conversation with them, and he basically said that, yeah, they're,
He's like our informant.
turning away volume.
Right?
Yeah,
He's like our informant.
This guy was actually there picking up empties that we rented. No, I had somebody from the company come out, and I don't want to throw him under the bus or say his name, but he when I was talking to the Coyote was saying he's been going to different hubs to pick up empties, and the company will say, "Oh, your empty's not here, just send us the bill." And the company's paying these guys for not even doing any work.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
And then on top of that, somebody from management came down and was talking to me and telling me that he's specifically being told to turn down pickups in the feeder department. So he's like, it's frustrating to me because I have the manpower here and the equipment, and these guys are here, and I'm being told to tell the customers, no, we can't pick you guys up.
Can't pick you guys up. Yeah. I heard they're cutting a lot of that
that's sad.
volume. And it's probably a tactic to kind of make it look.
Isn't that kind of what they did in the last contract too? Isn't it kind of convenient that we're all of a sudden light again during a contract year?
Yeah, it seems to be the MO for some,
Yeah.
for the most part.
I think a lot of it too is like the whole COVID thing is kind of coming down a little bit. I mean, obviously that was another.
Yeah, that was a whole different thing where e-commerce blew up for sure.
E-commerce blew up. I mean, obviously it's still busy. Luckily, I think, like John said, like we haven't really lost anyone. I think it's because of the area too. I mean, a lot of the people we deliver to in our particular hub aren't really affected. I mean, they're affected, but they're not affected as much as the normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got people.
They have money.
Yeah, money. Yeah, exactly. They live in-
Inflation, what's that?
Exactly. Exactly. They're making money off inflation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're half those people that when they're sleeping, their money's working for them.
Money's making money.
Yeah, the money's making so they don't know. Like they spend and they don't even look at the price of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's just our area, I guess.
Yeah,
But it's wild.
It is what it is. We had a question. Usually Sawas asks, but I'll ask for him. Well, what was your spark that kind of drove you into union business? Like, what was the catalyst?
My dad was actually a truck driver all my life. He drove an 18-wheeler for Albertsons, Chief Auto Parts, and a few other places. So I've always been around rigs. He worked for a building material yard too as a kid. So truck driving and driving in general.
He was a Teamster, right? I mean,
He was Albertsons, exactly. Yeah, when he worked for them, he was a Teamster. I think Chiefs too. That was right. It was Chief Auto Parts that got bought out. I want to say
we have building material too. I don't know that his.
No, the
plant
building
was
material
covered,
was
but-
a private. It was a friend of his that owned it, but that's where he kind of started. Then he moved on from there. Actually, where I lived in Norwalk, UPS drivers would take Bloomfield down to Foster down to Shoemaker,
Nice.
Okay.
and I would see them as a kid just driving down the street when they were coming back to the building. That was their
Yeah.
path. That was their, you know what I mean? That was
Yeah.
like their. So I would see them all the time. They stopped at a stop sign. It was just UPS truck.
Yeah.
And I was right down the street. I live maybe a mile or two from the Cerritos hub, and my neighbor worked in HR there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was the Cerritos is off of like Moore Street or something like that. I can't remember really anymore.
Yeah, I think it's.
More.
Obviously, coming from the household I did, my parents were like, "Well, if you're not going to school, you're getting a job somewhere. You gotta do something." So I went to my neighbor one day and just like, "Hey, man, can you give me a job over there?" And I'm not gonna lie, like the idea of driving the UPS truck was always kind of cool.
Yeah.
I always thought,
Yeah, that is a cool
until
thing.
you were actually in it and had to do all the work, but but
You're like, it's cool for people to see me driving the UPS.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly,
It's not
but
cool to be in here.
that's what got me in it. And then, then once you're kind of in it, I mean, it's awesome. It's a brotherhood. It's awesome. Like everyone you work with, especially when I first started driving, everyone was out to help everyone. Like you would be in most of my area was Costa Mesa, and drivers would call you and be like, "Hey man, like you want me to help you with this pickup?" Like, when that area used to be more business oriented, now a lot of those people moved to Irvine. But yeah, everyone was cool. Like, oh, let's go have lunch, let's go do this. And it was like everyone was out to help everyone, and it just took off from there. Like I said, the years fly by. I don't even know how long I've been there that long.
Yeah, it does. It does. Fly
UPS
by.
consumes your life. But yeah, I love it, man. It's like, it's nice to be able to I got vacation, I got benefits, I'm taken care of, and hopefully we can keep that rolling, That's the whole idea.
All right, we're back from our break, guys. As you can see, Sawas he was feeling ill. He did have to take off. He wanted to apologize. He wanted us to let you know he just had a headache, and he's been sick. I will give him some leeway. I will still say fuck Sawas.
Fuck Savas.
But that being said, he wasn't feeling all that great, so he had to get out of here. Back to our guest. I just wanted to kind of continue what we were talking about. So how long have you been a steward? How have you enjoyed that, or what are the struggles of that? Let's talk about that. I don't think that we've ever discussed
the struggles of being a steward. Okay, wow, that's actually a really good question. Actually, I think a lot of people think that being a steward is about like, oh, you have power or you have an advantage or they take care of you or what do you call it? I'm like that. It's
you don't pay union dues.
Yeah, you don't pay. I mean, honestly, what are union dues? $100. I mean, the 100.
I will pay twice as much.
Yeah, I will pay twice. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, look, I love taking care of all the members and stuff like that. It's I am still just one person. That's not an excuse either, but it's interesting. It is.
It's a thankless job.
It is. It is.
It really
There's no
job.
like. Yeah, I mean, I try to do everything I can for most people. I'm trying to get people paid. I'm trying to get people fixed. I'm trying to. I think the steward job has, at least in our center, has rolled into like. I mean, I know dispatch now. I know, and I'm calling people, and I can get a lot of problems fixed. And I think a lot of it people don't realize. Like a lot of these problems can probably be addressed if you just ask. Yeah. I get a lot of people don't want to call and our dispatch guy or our manager and just discuss it. And I get it. I'm completely comfortable calling our manager and just yelling at him. You know what I mean? It's fine. And he'll yell at me back. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to get upset. Like, go ahead. Tell me what you want to tell me. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. Yeah. But I'm cool with that.
Motherfuck me. I'm going to motherfuck you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, I need you to fucking do this, and this person needs to come in by this time or he's got something going on and you fucking knew about it, and you guys are not doing anything about it. That's perfectly fine. So it's cool. But like it's only been, like I said, I think it's only been like 4 or 5 years that I've actually been steward in Costa Mesa. It is a thankless job, but it's good because I feel like I have a pretty good grip on it. I feel like most people are taken care of. I get it. I can't get to everyone. Like I think we were talking about with negotiations, you guys are saying the grievance procedure. The grievance procedure is they do drag stuff out. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes dragging it out actually works in our favor too because of certain.
I don't think people understand that part of it. Like there are some things that us as a union would want to drag out. Yeah. So it plays in both, in the favor of both sides at times, right? Both of us are going to use the current language to our advantage, whatever that may be. Yeah. Okay. So the company, they have a limited amount of labor managers. They've actually reduced the amount of labor managers from the past. Before, they had more and they would kind of address problems maybe a little bit quicker. Now they've kind of used the language to say, hey, well, there's no time limit on what we need to meet. There's time limit on what, we need to put on the agenda, what we need to sit down. The time limits that you read in the contract, believe it or not, for those of you that have actually read it, because I've had people tell me like, well, you're supposed to sit on this in 5 days and you're supposed to do this. Those are actually, believe it or not, those are a guideline. And that was clarified in negotiations because I think at the time, and I wasn't there in negotiations at that time, but at the time, the both sides were kind of in agreement that we do want to sit down in this amount of time, but there's stuff that happens, right? People go on vacation, there's this, there's that. Sometimes the member's not available. There's a lot of things that play into that. So they wanted to give leeway on both sides. So they kind of built that in and they made them guidelines instead of parameters, right? I see. So when you read that, the intent in negotiations was really a guideline. So I've had people get upset at me, and I'm sure as a steward you've had.
Yeah, they're looking at it more black and white. It says this, it should mean this.
You guys need to do this. Yeah. That was all negotiated as parameters, as guidelines. So when you bring that up, you're going to get the same thing from my side and from the company, unfortunately, is that, well, we technically don't have to meet in that time frame. Now, do we want to address your grievances quickly? 1,000%. Oh, yeah. Right? I think that
Yeah, it's,
Me as business agent, them as stewards, I think we all want to address the grievances quick.
When I file it, I want to be able to talk about it right there, or even before, like, where I'm like, hey, I mean, I don't want to say threaten, but it's almost like you want to come out, the management or the supervisor's like, look, this is what you guys should be doing, because you want to fix the problem that way it doesn't happen with someone else.
Yes.
You know, so you want to nip it in the butt right then and there, and you want to be like, look, this is not the way we do things. It's never been done this way, especially if they're new. I go, you guys can't be doing this to this person. I'm going to file a grievance on it, and then we're going to sit, and then we're going to fix your ass, you know what I mean, or whatever. Or you're going to pay. One of the, someone's getting paid or something's getting fixed, you know. And that I like to try to solve it there. But obviously there's issues where they believe one thing and we believe another thing, and then that's when we have to figure out a time to get together. And obviously there's hundreds of grievances, so it's like, you know, when's the best time? And then sometimes you get down and you're like, hey, you asked so-and-so about a grievance, and they're like, oh, well, I'm off tomorrow, or I can't, you know. That's not always the case.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah, sometimes it really is, yeah.
And then it plays, like I said, sometimes it plays to our favor. We'll have a member that's, say, dead to rights on occasions, right? They've exceeded their occasions. They're on a working termination at this point. They're, you know, they can't show up on time, or they can't show up to work, and it's just a struggle. I get it. You know, it happens.
Yeah.
But we do have members that will get on a working termination. So you're still working, but you're technically terminated, whatever.
There's a grievance pending on it.
Yeah,
there's
the
a
grievance
And that's when it works in our favor, like you're saying.
For us, we'll try to put time in between those grievances, and we'll try to say, like, hey, we'll tell the member, you need to clean it up. So that way when we sit down, we can say, hey, look, the guy's cleaned his act up. You know, he might have had an issue, and whether that was related to a family problem or whatever, you know what I mean? We'll go ahead and kind of try to push those a little bit further. Like, I don't want to sit on the discipline, or maybe the member's not available today, or whatever. Yep. So, but the company does that as well, and they'll kind of use that to their advantage.
They do too. That's the problem.
And they drag their feet on taking meetings and whatnot. So the grievance procedure, for what it was, it has its issues. It benefits both sides at times, you know, and it is what it is. The company's always going to take the language we negotiate and do what they think the best for them is, right? And we're going to do the same thing on our side. We're going to look at the language, and we're going to say, okay, well, this benefits us this way. Let's, and you know, maybe interpret it this way, or whatever. And that's just kind of the way things work.
That brings up another topic as far as like the discipline for, like, say, the 6-day punch. The company's like, okay, we want to discipline you for it, but we're not really like gonna fire anyone. I mean, yeah, we may threaten or something like that, but then you file on it.
They actually might issue the discipline. That's why we need people to
issue the
understand.
discipline.
Exactly, they'll
issue it.
Exactly, yeah. And then I've gotten into it with, you know, our center manager, another center manager. And I go, I don't understand why this, like, obviously this is a problem. You guys either need to hire people, or you need to do whatever it takes to get. I don't know why we're doing this for so long. And I go, you can't just force people. They're on a Monday through Friday schedule or whatever.
Or a Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
So don't expect them to be there on their day off.
Exactly. Especially when you're calling them at 4 o'clock, you know, the day before. And like, hey, we need you to work tomorrow. You got to come in. And like, dude, I got a plan. So, you know, I'm supposed to take my kid. So, you know, wherever. And like, now you're going to try to discipline this person. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. I go, think about it. I go, think about if I called you in all of a sudden, and you're supposed to take your kid, and like, oh, we need you here. Someone got in an accident. You need to be here now. You going to come? I highly doubt it. You're going to find someone else, right? And I go, and that's just the way it works, you know. I go, you got to realize that people have lives, you know.
These are people just like we're people, and that's actually been, you know, came as a surprise to me when we started having guests on, but it humanizes people. Like, so we've had STs on, and you know, myself as a business agent, Salvas as a business agent, you guys as shop stewards, like, you're still people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, members will look at the title and they'll be like you said, like, they think that you're whatever favored, or this or this and this and that, right? But at the end of the day, you're a person. You have your own life. You know, you have your own life issues, your problems, and people.
I did
really
sign
need
up for
to
this though,
understand
so
that.
I can't. I get it now.
Yeah, we all
No, I
sign.
totally get it, and we've discussed on the show. This is a lifestyle. When you get up to my level, it's even more apparent. As a steward, it's definitely apparent. Like, you're at home taking calls on the weekends, taking, you know what I mean? Like, calls on your off hours. Maybe you got off at 5, you know, another driver's working till 10. He'll call you.
He's going to call you. Yeah.
What's going on? I got this going on, blah, blah, blah. You know, and you might have to address that situation as it comes. This is really a lifestyle. Like, you kind of tailor your life around it.
You do.
But then people forget that you're a person, you know, that you have your own struggles, that you're your car's in the shop and you need to go pick it up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, to be honest,
It's
right?
true,
like
yeah. And they don't want to hear that. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that shit.
I
they
don't
just
wanna
want
tell
to
them that
hear
either,
what's up with
Yeah.
their issue and what's going on. And
Yeah. How can I
know,
help you?
exactly. And a lot of the times it's like, what have you done for me lately? Because you'll get that from people that, you might have bent over backwards for in the past. And I've seen it as a steward. I've seen it as a business agent where you like at some point you have the time and you are willing and you're able and you bend over backwards for them. And then the next time maybe you have something going on, you can't do that right now. And it's really turns into like, what have you done for me lately? And it's like, fuck.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. It sucks because you try to handle situations as they come, like you said, and then it's like you help, and then there's a situation where you can't help, and you're like, or maybe you're tied up in something else, or someone else, maybe someone else is getting fired, and that's not. We don't walk around and tell people the business, what's going on in the background. That's not my. I don't want anyone to know. Are you good?
Yeah, I think the battery's dead. It's fine.
Oh, the camera.
Yeah.
We still go. Oh, but
Yeah,
anyway,
we're
it's there are situations, and you just say like there could be someone getting fired in the office today, and someone's worried about he's 10 steps over dispatch, and he's pissed off, because he has to get off a little early today.
And he wants his problem addressed
Now,
right
you know,
now.
right now.
Yeah,
Like, you
right
need to go
now.
talk to or drop the name, whatever. But you need to go talk to the dispatch or whatever. And it's like, bro, I got to go figure this out real quick. This guy, especially if the guy in the office like didn't mean any type of malicious behavior.
Yeah,
Something just happened. And then because then I take it personally. I'm like, are you seriously discrediting this guy and you're trying to hang him because of then that affects your day or whatever. It does suck because those people don't really know what's going on. You want to address their situation and you always try to get back to them. But it's that mentality where it's almost like, well, what did you do for me, And it sucks. It does, but it kind of comes with the nature of the job. You have to
100%. You have to accept it.
And I totally get it. And, and I'll share some personal stuff, I guess, for those of you on the show. I know these two know. But, we spent like 9 weeks in negotiations straight, right? So we were negotiating the Western Supplemental and the Southwest Riders and the Automotive Addendum. So we were we were busy, right? So I had a lot of people come and even stewards that were like, hey, I have issues here that you need to address. Like, why aren't you here? And I'm like, look, I understand. I'm doing this, and believe it or not, there's benefit to it. And I think that goes a lot to, for those of you within the 952 jurisdiction, your stewards, if they're at UPS, they just had a meeting, an update for the contract. Eric kind of, laid it out and let them know as much as he could as far as updates. We usually don't go through like specific proposals. We'll tell you about TAs or whatnot, but specific proposals, nobody likes to share because we don't want people like clinging on to certain proposals and thinking
it might
that
not go through.
Negotiations are exactly what the word negotiations mean. We're going back and forth. We're negotiating, right? So we might have certain things that are solid demands that we're willing to strike for, and then we might have things that we're willing to negotiate about. And some issues need to be done, incrementally through multiple contracts. Like, hey, say we want X, maybe that's a certain dollar amount for a certain job title, right? And if we have a giant gap in between these two, where we want to be and where we're at per the current contract. So are we going to be able to cover $20 within one contract? That's really not realistic.
No, it's not.
You know what I
It's
mean?
about getting your foot in the door.
You get your foot in the door, you stop the bleeding, and then you work towards that through multiple contracts, right?
Yeah.
So there's some things like that, like we're not going to be like, hey, we're going to fight for you guys for, let's say, combo guys. We're going to fight for you guys for $50 an hour, right? And you're like, okay, well, that's a $20 increase. Like, how would we get there?
Yeah.
Well, people need to understand that we need to negotiate that, and we need to take a step in the right direction, and then we work on that. Maybe through multiple contracts, maybe through progression within one contract, whatever that may be. Yeah. Right. So people, like I said, people need to kind of understand that it's a negotiation. That's one of the reasons we don't put out proposals. Like, we allow members to make proposals, and those are kind of what we'll go off of. Right. But as far as like what we pass across the table back and forth, we're not going to tell you every time there's a certain proposal, like, oh, the company proposed this, and then we propose this, and then they propose this, and then we propose this, and we're kind of meeting in the middle, right? Because at some point you might have membership say like, oh, well, we want to stick to this proposal, and the company's like way down here, and do we want them to say, oh, well, we're going to stick to this proposal? That's just going to cause a strike, right? And that's never the goal of any negotiations, is a strike. That's not the goal. The goal is a good contract, and some issues do need to be attacked incrementally. It's just the nature of the beast.
I think the part-time definitely needs an overhaul. I mean, like,
for sure.
It's one of my biggest concerns. I know as a full-time driver, everyone wants more money. I get it, but let's be realistic about it. I think the part-time needs a big boost, and it needs to make that job more desirable to people. When you come and look at it, you're like, what? They're going to pay me $15, and what do you call it?
It's like, why would I do that? I can go work at McDonald's for the same price.
Exactly. Yeah. And all I got to do is push some buttons, and I go, I don't even have to be a real chef. I'm going to pull out trays, and like, why would I go work at UPS, break my back, and you know what I mean?
And that does, and we've talked about it in other shows, that does fall a lot on us and you as well, and and honestly everybody, is we need to do a better job of explaining to the membership, not that I think that the current pay rate or starting rate is fair. Okay, I think they definitely need to come up. They need to address that. But that being said, we definitely need to do a better job of explaining and kind of walking people through what they get on the back end. Because your pay rate might be a certain pay rate. You're not taking into account the $10 you're going to make in pension per hour you work. The company is looking at it, and not that I give them an excuse, but the company is looking at it like, okay, well, we're not just paying, like, let's say McDonald's, we're not just paying the $20 an hour. We're paying $15.50 plus we're paying $10 into pension, plus we're paying
benefits,
$300 into insurance, right? So they're like, the total compensation package might be somewhere like around $30, $40.
Yes.
Right? When you really add up what you're making, but that pay rate is $15.50, and you're like, that's all you see. So I think that falls on us a lot,
Yeah, we do.
That definitely falls. That definitely falls on us, and also definitely falls like on the younger employee, because that's kind of all they really see at the beginning. Like when you first jump in, what they're really looking for is dollar signs.
Yeah,
for
sure. I mean, when you go into a job, that's what you ask, right?
Yeah, that's what you're looking. Yeah, you're like, well, how much do you pay? Exactly.
How much how much do I make?
I mean, that also comes with
kind
age,
of new
right?
car am I gonna buy?
When you get a little bit older, you're like, what do your fucking benefits look like? Do you guys offer 401k?
Yeah. When you're older, you're like, dude, I got diabetes. Okay, so
right? Am I gonna lose this leg or not? Like, what's?
Yeah, when I first started at UPS,
I make $30 an hour. But
yeah, that's what I used to say. Like, I make $30 an hour. Now I'm like, bro, I just got these new sunglasses, $5. I go, you know what I mean? It's like, I went to the doctor, fix this, $5.
Yeah,
I need to fix. You know what I mean? It's like
people don't kind of consider that, and we've talked about that too. Is like the younger generation might not use those benefits, but they are there.
But they are there.
You will need those benefits later.
Hey, it's nice knowing you have them there.
But
with that being said, like I said, a little bump in the pay would be nice. And I think one of the other stewards brought it up in the meeting, was talking about like some of the premium jobs. I get it that UPS believes, a box is a box, and there's no more premium jobs. I remember like when we started, like, you learned sort, you got that.
I still think that preload would technically be a premium job, because you actually have to sort packages inside the package car and make that driver's day like functional. So
correct.
Like it's not like unloading packages. Obviously, if you're unloading packages out of a 53 footer, you're just throwing packages onto a conveyor belt. Sorting, it's all color coded now, right? I mean, that's kind of like almost a mindless
skill out of it.
It's almost a mindless job now. So pickoff's almost the same thing. You're just like sliding one package on. But preload, I always felt like should always be like a premium, like skilled position, because you need to know how to load. It's like playing Tetris inside a truck.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and then you're set, like you said, you're setting up someone's day.
You're setting up someone's day.
I've had loads bad myself, and you go.
I mean, the unloader is not affecting the driver's day. The pickoff guy's not affecting the driver's day.
This one loader, shout out Endo, you know who you are.
Endo,
dude, best loader, one of the best loaders. There was a couple that were just phenomenal, but this guy would go so far. Like he would literally sort out my apartment numbers.
Oh yeah,
In
those were
that
the,
far?
Yeah,
Dude,
those were the.
bro.
He'd be like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
the trailer park on so and so street. Look, I put it all numbered, so
That's
it's all
awesome.
in there." So he would look at the label and everything. Oh, dude, it was
That's a
so
great fucking
good,
loader.
dude.
So
Like
We can't even get drivers.
Stop.
We can't even get the preloaders now to look at the track and label and the power label at
Dude,
the same time.
stop for
Yeah.
stop. This guy would. I would just go. Oh shit, it's right here. I didn't fucking have to look. Shit was just flying.
That's open
off
your
the shelf,
package
dude.
selection time
Oh,
all day.
Man, that guy
Yeah.
was fucking great, dude.
That's when you were spoiled. I think when I first took the route I have now, I had a girl that was a loader. She moved to, I think Arkansas or something like that, because her husband was in the military or something. Anyway, she moved, but she was that same type of loader.
Yeah.
It was literally like if it wasn't where it was supposed to be, I didn't even look because I knew it wasn't in my truck. You know, there was never a time where like I'm like, oh, maybe she threw it on the floor.
Well, because she would let you know if she moved it.
Oh,
Exactly.
dude,
Oh, it was-
I would go to my truck some days, and they would be like, there was another girl, same thing. She would be like, "Hey, just so you know, I moved this stop down here. It was a little heavy, so this is
Yeah,
over
I
here.
cleared it up.
This
Yeah.
is it's not where it's supposed
I
to be,
fucking
but
love that.
oh,
But it's here,
dude,
yeah.
it was fucking.
And it was
great.
all together, the same sequence
Yes.
number. Yeah. I mean, I swear, I even told her, like, I would deliver my day. I go, if it's not on the shelf, I don't even look for it. I just close the door, I keep going. And I go inside of my truck at the end. I don't go back.
Yeah.
I go, like, you don't know how much you help my day. I go, it's almost mindless at that point. Like, you just open the door and you're like, boom, boom. You know what I mean? I go, and there's some loads where it's like, oh, God, we got to take 15 minutes and clear this up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Shit, it would
Oh.
take 45.
Well, my route's mostly bulky, so I mean, it's not that much resi, but that's, I've never been a running gun type of resi guy, but we don't realize it. And that it should be a premium job. But I think like some of the other positions, like you're filling in for a hazmat guy or something like that, they were saying, like those hazmat guys you fill in, you take training to
100%. You take training for that.
Yeah, UPS requires you to take a training, right? So that means now, like, I took a training to do this position opposed to just, like, moving a box now. So, like, why am I not getting paid? Like, I don't want it for my whole shift, or maybe I
It's
do.
like, why am I getting paid my flat rate when that is a premium job and it gets a higher rate?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not saying maybe you don't pay me what the guy that's been working there 20 years has been making.
Yeah, but
maybe meet me somewhere in the middle, to compensate me.
And I think, us as drivers, like I don't ever think that we look down on the part-time. I know that
Nah, man, that's where I
that
came
has
from.
been
I-
expressed.
yeah.
it has been
but
expressed.
it has been expressed like that, drivers look down on the part-timers. But I think we do need to take into consideration too, and it's one thing that I kind of wanted to say in the meeting, but I don't want to discourage people from having thoughts and from open dialogue and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, there are way more driver jobs. That is the bread and butter of what you're getting into. What do we do on a daily basis? What is our job at the end of the day? Our job is to deliver packages.
Yeah.
That's it, right? At the end of the day, our job is to grab package from location A, take it to location B, make sure it gets there safely, blah, 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 right? So those are all driving positions. Then we have sorters and a lot of stuff in the building. And now I think we're getting to the point where we have more and more people that don't want to take that step into driving because it's not for everybody and it's tough.
It is,
and
yeah.
it's hard.
It's not literally for
like
everyone. Some people cannot actually.
It does
do
take
the
your
work.
life.
But it's something that you do need to address and say that, like, there's no way in hell, there's no possible way that we could get all the part-timers full-time jobs within a reasonable amount of time, right? Because you are afforded jobs to go full-time, which would be driving jobs, because that's our bread and butter, right? But to get people full-time jobs within the hub is tough, right?
Correct.
So when we think about those jobs, like, what are those? Shifts are usually 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
So that's what a part-time shift is. That's what the loaders go through and the unloaders and stuff. And then how would we get to the point where we get those guys more full-time jobs? I think we'll definitely up the amount of full-time jobs that were required or that were given.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're not going to be able to say that, like, hey, you'll never have to go driving and you'll be afforded a full-time job within 5 years, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just tough.
It's
it's
tough.
tough.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think that was expressed, like, it's like you're saying, like those 22 jobs and stuff like that. It's tough because the other problem with that is, say I didn't want to go driving, you know what I mean? And then I started back then, I took a 22 job, or I took an inside building job. I mean, I'm going to sit on that job for what, the next 30 years?
30 years.
I mean,
Why not?
But you might have been waiting for that job for 20 years.
And that's the other thing. You've been waiting for 20 years. So I think some of it, not so much that it's a position that we're trying to fill, but when that person that can't fill it or calls out sick or something, when that part-timer goes and fills in, they should be getting that money.
Yeah.
That way, at least they kind of get, say I'm a part-timer that preloads and it's like, oh, well, this hazmat guy or this shifter is gone 2 days a week. So at least 2 days a week, I get to work that shift and then I do my preload and I'm getting
make that premium pay.
Yeah, and I'm getting a premium pay. So I'm making an extra $100 every week because of this. And I'm cool with that because now I'm not just making preload the whole week. I'm making an extra $100 because I'm shifting 2 days a week. And now and I can live off that. You know,
and to your point, and I don't know how we put the cat back in the bag, right? But to your point, like we have cover drivers, right? Not every area has cover drivers.
Yeah.
Some don't, some do, whatever. But we have cover drivers in our area. How do we put that cat back in the bag where we're like, okay, well, a cover driver doesn't make what an RPCD does, right? So, I mean, obviously we're going to address the 224 situation, which also doesn't make as much as the RPCD. But those cover drivers, they make 75% of what an RPCD does. But how do you address that situation where you're like trying to get that for the part-timers and you have your cover drivers right here who cover RPCDs, but they make less, right? So there is, like, people do need to take that into account. Like, do we offer them that? And I'm not saying that they don't deserve that. I'm just saying once the cat is out of the bag within a contract or within a negotiation, like, it's really hard to put that cat back in the bag. And it's one of the things that kind of Eric touched on, that he was amazed that, that the company would even entertain getting rid of the 22-4s, which is a strike position for us.
Yes.
So obviously we have the leverage right now. But that being said, that's kind of unprecedented. Once a company gets something in a contract that they want, like, that benefits them like that, like the 22-4s, which is
normally
a $6 wage increase. RPCDs make $6 more than 22-4s at top rate.
Yeah.
Both of them. Like, how do you get that back in the bag? Now we have the 22-4s that are going to go RPCD. That's what Sean said. That's what we're sticking to because it's a strike position. But with the other stuff, how would we get there? You know what I mean?
Me and Lugo kind of talked about that a little bit, and we were almost thinking, like, I get the whole 22-4 position because it has helped drivers. I feel like when I went driving, it was soon. Like, I mean, within 3, I mean, like, not many people have that, that advantage on the system or whatever you want to call it, or that luxury.
You were afforded the opportunity.
Yeah, the economy was booming at the time, and a lot of our, honestly, I mean, our job is based off of the economy. And like, if the internet blew up or if FedEx went under tomorrow, how many more drivers would UPS hire?
Yeah,
we would take on all that volume, and everyone would have full-time jobs. Then UPS wouldn't care, like, oh, we're getting paid, But what if we changed some of the verbiage on the 22-4 and gave them more rights, say for bids or for 8-hour request or something like that. Maybe try to alter that a little bit, because maybe there is that person out there that's a 22-4 or that wants or considers the 22-4 position, even though he's low man on the totem pole. He's like, I don't really want to drive every day. I don't care if I drive. I don't want to route. Like, I'd rather come in almost like a cover driver. Like, I don't mind kind of coming in and working maybe 2 or 3 days. Maybe that's a flex position. I'm not sure if it makes sense, but with 7 days, like we've talked about, like with 7 days coming in, maybe that person can work like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then he has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You don't know someone else's schedule. His wife might work or not work during the week, and she can take care of the kids. And he's like, oh, I can knock out a weekend, but I have the whole week to myself. I can spend with my kids, my family. Like, no one really thinks about it until you're off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday every week, and you're like, shit, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Everyone's at work. I can get, errands done. My fear with the elimination of the 22-4 position, and I told George, was that what's the company going to do when they don't have this 22-4 position where they have to keep, that's basically their Saturday workers, and say that we're all just normal drivers now.
So everyone,
everyone's an RPCD now, right? So then they're like, well, we have way too many RPCDs during the week, or what do you call it? Like, what's stopping us from getting rid of 15 of you guys because we only need 20 routes on Saturday, but we have 22-4 jobs, and we're going to get rid of you guys, and we'll just force the bottom 2 in. Or
I think that the argument kind of is the same. Your point, about the economy. Like, sometimes we need more drivers than others, and there was a giant boom during COVID.
Yeah,
everyone had to stay home, and everyone started, ordering online. And not that that's going away per se. I think the whole world is kind of trending towards e-commerce.
Yeah.
Right. They're all kind of trending that way.
Yeah.
But that being said, we had a boom and then it's kind of shrunk a little bit. Obviously, we're in somewhat of a recession and, inflation is through the roof. So stuff is a little bit lighter, and that would kind of dictate our job. Like, if they did need to let people go or I should say lay them off, really, we have layoff language that would kind of, afford them some rights. For sure.
Yeah, they would be able to work still the morning.
Yeah, they would still get their, they'd still get 8 hours and do their thing. But like I was saying, to your point, like, it's a problem that's being discussed around the country. I will tell all the members that.
It's going to be everywhere.
It's not something that Sundays are coming. Sean said it. The companies said it. At some point, we do need to deliver Sundays because all the other delivery services.
We're the last ones holding out. We literally are the last ones holding out.
That's another thing too. I think about it sometimes. I don't mean but so they want Sunday work. What if we were to maximize our volume efforts and deliver 7 days and 6 days?
Yeah,
and
I don't think
that way people still have a day off.
To me, I don't think that the issue is the amount of stuff delivered. I think the issue nowadays with consumers is convenience. Right, they want the guy that delivers, that orders on Saturday night.
Oh, okay, and then wants a delivery.
That wants it delivered next day or on Sunday.
Yeah. So, okay, that makes sense.
I mean?
That's what I was going to say.
And I think that's just
that's like an e-commerce
the whole
issue.
Kind of world is trending towards convenience.
Okay,
we all want stuff right now.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely,
it kind of is what it is, and I think that's the problem they're more trying to address. Rather than like, hey, we can't get the volume out till Monday or whatever.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think it's more convenience.
Everyone
just wants convenience.
Yeah,
I want to order it Friday.
Yeah.
And
I want it by Saturday or Sunday.
I would really like those socks tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Amazon is doing that. They're providing convenience. The post office, the same thing.
Yeah.
FedEx is delivering Sunday.
DHL.
So it's really more of just kind of keeping up with the Joneses. Now, I don't think we're going to change public sentiment. You know what I mean? They want stuff now. That would be more of an argument for them, I guess, to say, hey, do you guys really need it Sunday? Really? Well,
I just wonder if we have enough. Is there enough demand? Is there enough people online shopping Saturday night to want it Sunday? I get there's a percentage of it, but I feel like
we'd have to see the logistics on that to see whether or not it's even.
Yeah, you're right. But at the same time, then we come in, like we talked about earlier, we're coming in every day, and then there's like a table or 4 tables full of misloads.
Yeah, there's 4 tables.
And the company's like, oh, no, we're not taking those back out.
Push it out till the next day.
And I mean, to your point, there has been businesses that have models that are like that. They're, like, let's say Chick-fil-A, for example, right? Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, we're not working Sunday. Yeah.
They're closed Sundays.
Yeah, they're Christian-based.
Now, for us,
with
like,
Jesus.
would we go that model? It's tough in our industry, and I'm sure it was tough for Chick-fil-A because McDonald's doesn't close.
Well, because that's literally a day they don't make money.
So you don't make no. Exactly.
Yeah, so McDonald's is open 7 days a week. Chick-fil-A is only open 6. So there's a whole day of revenue they're not making there.
Yeah, but Chick-fil-A is still more. They've been more prosperous. You know why? Because everyone likes their service.
They like their service.
Right?
Exactly.
You never see those, like, when the people post those memes online. That,
100%.
Oh, you forgot your sauce, and you got Chick-fil-A person running out the door.
Yeah.
McDonald's, they just hand you your food, and they don't even ask if you want ketchup or a straw.
You want more sauce?
Right?
You want more sauce? Give me the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me the money.
Cost some money. Exactly. But they have their clientele already, right?
Yeah.
So
You guys
people are
remember when they did that shit? Fuck, when they started charging for barbecue sauces.
Well, the reasoning because people were suing them for, like, oh, my coffee's too hot. I spilled it on myself, and now I'm suing you. Yeah,
I actually remember that lawsuit. When
the
lady spilled the
lady
fucking
spilled
coffee.
coffee.
Didn't say caution
Caution hot.
Yep, and she sued them for that. Imagine we live in a country where
every fucking cup has the caution hot fucking thing on it.
Everything's litigated.
Yep.
Exactly.
They give you stuff at kids' temperature now because they don't want anybody to burn them.
It's like,
please don't
you
burn
didn't
yourself
know
in
coffee
that
was already
lukewarm
hot,
coffee.
right? It's like, God forbid I fire my stove up.
I put a
and
thermometer in it. That shit was only 110 degrees. Liar.
Right? Yeah. They're gonna. It's bad enough, like with the Amazon, and like they take a picture of their package now, and it's like, oh, it's at your door. You know what I mean?
Yeah, out by the fucking gate.
Yeah, but exactly.
Here's your package. It's right in the middle of the street.
Yeah,
for real.
Good luck.
But I mean, and I think that's a long-term thing that I wish we could address. At the end of the day, it's UPS's company, so they kind of.
Oh, it is definitely
Yeah.
their company, but at some point in time, they got to take responsibility for how the bids are going to go. That's when I was talking to Jesse about this, the biggest concern was how the bids are going to go if they're going to have a tier work week, like a Monday through Friday, Tuesday to Saturday, Wednesday to Sunday. Like, what are those bid sheets going to look like? So is it the main full time, right? Like the top RPCDs, are they going to get prime selection Monday through Friday, and then the next tier down Tuesday to Saturday, and then the next one down Wednesday to Sunday? And we're going to get some drivers that are going to have like a 3 selection work week. You know, like what is that going to be like?
At this point, I think it's nothing set in stone. It's still a problem that everyone's looking at.
It's that's literally just a question. I mean, obviously, we're not going to answer it right here. But that's just something that obviously needs to be addressed, and I'm sure food for thought. For sure.
It's definitely been part of, and me being a part of the Southwest and the West, it's definitely being questioned and being looked at. It's not just the workday work week that we need to fix. It is the bids that go along with that workday work week. So traditional Monday through Friday. Do we hold to that? And that's part of some of the growing pains that we're dealing with. Is that traditionally it's always been like Monday through Friday is the cream of the crop, the bread and butter. Everyone works Monday through Friday, right? We've kind of had this Saturday, Sunday as our weekend, that sort of thing.
And that's the thing.
Most businesses still run on that model. We are in a service-based industry, which kind of would coincide with retail or food service or whatever. Yeah. So those models are different. Like those models are a 7-day a week, whatever, 18 hours a day or whatever they operate on, and shifts within those means. So it's something that we need to address, and we do need to kind of think out of the box as far as like Monday through Friday being traditional. And then how do we address the work?
That's why we mentioned earlier, like, would it make more sense to just change the language on the 22.4, and you can still have like the 2-tier work week, Monday through Friday, and then maybe do like a Wednesday to Sunday shift. And there'd be like very minimal. Now. I know, but instead of having the 3 work periods, you can only have 2. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be Monday through Friday, Wednesday to Sunday, and take out Tuesday to Saturday. So there'd be minimal overlap in the middle of the week.
I mean, this is wild too. Like I said, because I think we live in a different culture now too. Also, that like people don't want to work. Like we said, Monday through Friday has always been the staple, right? It's like I just want to work Monday through Friday.
Everyone's working for the weekend.
Unless you're working retail. Retail is obviously like, I'm working weekends. But there's a lot of guys even in our center that like to work Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
Like because their wives or whatever, they want to be off that Monday. Like I like having Mondays off. I like taking my kids to school. I like to, you know what I mean? And it's like, but contractually they have to switch over. Like when they signed up for it, when
they have to be Monday through Friday.
They have to be Monday through Friday. And like, I don't want to work Monday through Friday. So then sometimes they do a route that gets cut on Mondays. Like, cool, I'm not working Monday, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll work Tuesday and Saturday. Yeah. And like we let a lot of that go, which I mean, we probably shouldn't. They should like, hey, you need to come in on that Monday and work. But we don't, like I said, I go, this is where it's give and take. I mean, I hate to say it or throw myself under the bus. I go, we allow it to happen because I don't know what's going on in that person's life. He might have to take up his kids. His wife has to work. Yeah. And I'm not here to make this person's life more difficult. He shows up to work every day. He does his job. He's not complaining about working Saturday. And it's almost like maybe we can almost like, I don't want to say bid it out. But
I always say bid. Bid makes like, the most sense.
Say we got like 20 or 30 people in our center. Like, hey, man, I want to work a Tuesday through Saturday. And then, bam, we got Tuesday through Saturday workers.
And I do want you guys to know, and I'm glad this subject came up, that it is a problem that everyone's looking at.
Yeah.
With all the parameters that you guys are bringing up, like everything, we're looking at workday work week. We're looking at all this stuff, and how do we make everybody happy? At the end of the day, we're not going to make everybody happy.
No, it's impossible.
It's
literally impossible,
right? Yeah. It is just impossible. Someone's going to have an issue with it somewhere. Yeah. We're trying to make, I guess, the majority of the people happy, something that works for everybody, and that the company can continue to grow. Because a bigger company for us, I hear a lot of people talk like, oh, well, fuck the company. And I agree with you. Fuck the company, right? But at the end of the day,
we need them to be prosperous.
We need the company to make money.
We need to make money.
That's
how we stay in business.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we do have to take that into account as well. And if they want to do Sunday to keep up with, the other services. Like we understand that, and I think Sean has made that very clear. Like, hey, Sundays are coming.
Yeah, if they want
to figure out how to do that.
Yes, exactly. We just have to figure out how to do that.
You just got to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
And if they want to punch us in on 7-day, we should be paid accordingly. You know what I mean? I think the literature already for a 7-day punch is double time. And it's like a Monday through Friday driver. If you need me on Sunday, regardless of the fact if I signed up or not, pay me double time. Yeah. Sure, I'll come in. That's fine. Yep. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I might do, hey, that might be the difference of someone not working overtime all week long. Like, say I don't need to work 10 hours on Monday through Friday because one Sunday a month, I'm working double time, and it makes up for that difference. You know,
was it like 5 years ago, 6 years ago when we actually worked a Sunday? Which
I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
right?
that was.
But it was
fucking
Christmas fell on like
when the holidays
Christmas
was
fell
weird.
on a
fucking Monday.
Yeah. So it was like
So
Christmas Eve. We had packages to deliver,
Yeah,
right?
it was
And they called
wild.
us in on a Sunday, and I remember thinking, "Fuck, I'm gonna make." I think at the time the pay rate was like $35.
You know, it's funny. It's like I
$36
actually,
and
I actually
I'm
didn't
gonna make
want to work.
$72 an hour today.
I did. I was like, I'm
You
gonna
walk
spend,
around with
I
your
was like,
chest
I'm gonna spend
out.
time with my family, and then fucking they were like, I didn't because they at first they weren't sure on the pay, like at least when I was talking to the supervisor at the time, and then they're like, and then I found out it was double time. I'm like, well, fuck, I would have came in if it was double time. And then
Well, that's what we said to me exactly. Like, if you tell me like, oh, it's gonna be double time, some motherfucker will get it off the couch and be like, I'm coming in. Sorry, babe.
yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna see my kids Christmas Day.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm coming in. Yeah, I'm coming in. You know how much they're gonna pay me to go in for 8 hours? I go, Jesus. I go, what I make all week, I'm gonna make in one day. I'm like, I'm going in.
I worked fucking 12 hours or 12 and a half, 13 hours that day.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Because he had to go to Ontario.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I go, it's like I get it, and it's not for everyone. Not everyone has that luxury or whatever, and that's fine. I'm not here to say that, but there's some people out there like, dude, sign me up. I'm here to make some damn money. You know what I mean? I mean, that's why I'm there at least.
Yeah, we're there to make money.
We are there to make money.
Yeah, we're there to make money.
Well, look,
definitely not to look at telematics.
As always, guys, we could continue this
on.
conversation forever.
We literally
and ever.
could.
We'll go ahead and kind of cut it off, but we like to give all the guests an opportunity. Jesse's no exception.
Uh-oh.
So we'd like to give you the opportunity to speak to your members within Costa Mesa Center. To just if there's anything,
all UPS shop stewards
for all UPS. Is there anything that you have that you want to get out to the membership, whether that be get ready for the strike or get involved or whatever?
I personally don't think a strike will actually be beneficial to UPS. Obviously, we got to be prepared for everything. What do they say? Be prepared, expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
But
did you just use a UPS?
I use their methods against them. But anyway, I don't think so. When the last time they struck, we were talking about this earlier. When we strike, they lost like $20 million. I mean, e-commerce is huge now. I think the company's kind of giving us the blow or whatever, but realistically, as long as we go out there and do our jobs, the company can't touch us. There's nothing going on that's going to change anything. How much money they're going to lose if they have us on the street for a week is
astronomical.
It's
huge.
It's huge. I mean, I can't even think of it right now, like off the top. I mean, like with today's inflation, I mean, what was $20 million back then at 6 days when they were out?
Well, I think it's averaged down to like
it would be
roughly
$1 billion.
about
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. They
I think every week it's about 50 mil.
And with the company that sits there and talks about numbers and says like, oh my God, this guy took a 30-minute lunch and it actually took him 37 minutes. If they're talking about 7 minutes, if they're concerned about that and they're going to worry about putting us on the street, I think they're full of shit. But I think we're going to be okay. And like I said, we go out there, we do our jobs, and we'll be fine. And as far as Costa Mesa, I think we're a pretty good, well-oiled ship over there. We only have a few little squeaks here and there. Yeah, the management or whatever, I think we work with it pretty well with George.
Considering
the fact,
the fact.
But it's the nature of the business right now. They're going to try to squeeze every stop, and they like we talked about earlier.
They're trying to get the most out of us as they can.
Yeah, they think we're machines. We're not machines. Yeah. I always tell people, just go out there, take your breaks, always take your lunch. Don't worry about it. If anything comes, let me deal with it. Let me come to George or whatever. Me, it doesn't matter. Like we'll be fine. But the strike, I'm not worried about it. But that's just my personal opinion.
At the end of the day, dude, we appreciate you for coming on.
Thanks
for
having
me. We
It's
tried
kind of funny.
to get you on
guys
for a while.
Me in. Jesus
Finally
Christ.
locked him in. We got him, guys.
I hope I don't regret it.
But,
Twisted him in here.
No, we appreciate you for coming on. We appreciate the support. We thank you. Obviously, you guys out there, we appreciate you guys for tuning in every week. Those of you that do, those of you that have entered your entries for the jacket, we will be doing the drawing the last week of May. Okay, so the last week of May, we'll be doing the drawing. There is a cutoff. We'll let you guys know.
We'll let you know a couple days. We'll let you
in.
know a couple days before on Instagram. We'll do like a live event on Instagram. Be like, hey, the cutoff is this day, just so everyone has, you know, a little bit of time.
And then we'll do a live for the drawing.
Yeah.
We'll get that all sorted out. But make sure you follow the rules. Number 1 rule: follow us on Instagram at OCST.952 on Instagram. Follow us or subscribe. The 3 requirements are follow us on Instagram, OCST.952. Go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube and email us your entry. Basically saying, I'm done, did my entry, whatever. You could throw a fuck sauce on there. No big deal. But that's how you get in. We're going to do the drawing. Win yourself a Teamsters jacket. I will tell you there is a turnaround on the jacket, so you might have to wait a couple weeks. Well, once we get all everything you want on it.
Yeah, they got to embroider it.
So
and shit,
just
right?
so you know, we got to give us some time when you finally win. Then we'll get your jacket custom made. Maybe we'll have you on the show. Maybe we'll have you on the show to present you the jacket.
They have to wear their jacket and
right.
give
So, like I said, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, smash the like button, all that shit.
And just so you know, I don't have a jacket, so you guys will get one before me.
I don't got one either.
Oh, there we go. Boom. Hey, Costa Mesa get no love. It's all.
They've never asked for a jacket. All of a sudden they want.
Oh, I gotta ask for stuff now. See, I gotta ask for stuff. See how that goes. See how it goes.
Anyways, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you, George.
I don't got anything.
Email
OCST.000@gmail.com. You got to go there for the entries. Put in also anything you want in there. You can put in comments for your particular barn. If you got any stories you want us to cover, anything, just hit us up.
Shoot it in there. Thank you, guys. We're out.